Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with day 11 of Follow a Sketch February, a hop started by Sandy, which is Scrapping Reflections and State Goddess here on YouTube. And this sketch is let's see, looks like it's by Stacy Daubergner, maybe? Daubenberger? I can't, it's very little print. And I am going to document these pictures of some of our family, friends, or who are really more like family. And the sketch kind of made me want to use some florals, so I decided to pick out my Blooming Wild by Paige Evans. And I've got quite a few embellishments and just a handful of stickers and things like that. And so I've got my papers, my embellishments, my pictures, and this sketch. So let's see how this goes. So I love this collection for the most part. I really don't do florals very often. I've said that quite a bit. Typically, like lots and lots of floral, like a floral based paper, is not my thing. Like there are some that are fine, but typically like a very florally layout is not that just does not, I don't know. Flowers are super easy to scrapbook with though and embellish with because you can just tuck, 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 tuck and layer, 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 and it's great. So that's a good thing about flowers. And like I don't mind like doing clusters of flowers. I just don't do a lot of like background paper. So I chose this like plaid, gorgeous plaid paper. And then for my strip down the far side, I picked the solid green. And then I picked this shiny silver from the 6x8 and cut it in half and put that down as that long strip. And then this piece of paper that is not exactly like my background paper, but it's the same concept colors and stuff. It's just not a diagonal grid or plaid. It's a straight up and down plaid. And I'm okay with that. I wanted to bring all the different things together. So I used these 3 different patterns on all of my layout. So I'm going to mat my large picture on this green, which is the background, to the right. And then I mat the smaller picture on that shiny silver paper. And so I've got at least 2 of everything, the green, that shiny silver, and then that plaid. And those are all going to be, showing on here and not disappearing into the background. So like the green background paper for the picture is not touching the green background paper that's on that far right strip. So I get that stuff on there. This is a great layout for layering, for using up scraps, for building your own clusters. Like it only shows like 1 or 2 spaces for clusters or embellishments. I made my own and then added one down in the bottom left corner. And I love the way that this layout turned out. It's super simple, really. And I am thrilled with that. I think it only took me like 35 minutes maybe, which is good. So I love to use these like plants that are in like pots or vases or vases, however you want to say that, and like tucking them in because a lot of times you just don't have like a place for that. So I tuck that in so you can't see it, but I do trim around the leaves that are on the bottom so that they will come over the picture. Now, obviously, I don't want it to come over my the picture, the person in the picture's head or anything. So briefly, I will explain the picture because what I'm doing right now is pretty, obvious. I'm just finding flowers to tuck. The larger picture is my dad's very bestest friend, Jimmy, and his wife, who is also, they're all very close. My mom and dad and Jimmy and Georgiana were always together when they were younger, and then you just grew up together. They went to high school together. And so they've always been pretty darn close. And then the smaller picture is Julie, their daughter, and they came to visit and meet Apollo back in early October. They live an hour and a half away from us. And so my dad and Jimmy like I said, have been best friends since the 60s. And so they were also fishing buddies. So you could not find 2 more ridiculously goofy people to be together as you could with my dad and Jimmy. And they would tell stories about each other all the time and try and get my mom and Georgiana involved. And so they always make sure to say that they were not involved in any of the shenanigans that Dad and Jimmy were involved in. But you never know with them. One day somebody's gonna admit something to me, and I'll be like, "Oh my goodness." So, but anyway, they came to visit. It was really good to see them and hang out for a while. I love to listen to them tell stories. Jimmy still tells stories about my dad all the time because, they spent a lot of time together. Part of their college time was together, and then they were fishermen together, and then would go to Canada every year. And so Jimmy is actually the person with my brother-in-law who scattered my dad's ashes at their favorite a fishing spot up in Canada back in 2018. So he is a very, very special person in our family. So he's really more like an uncle to me. So I was glad for him to get to meet little AJ. And they all three took turns holding him and snuggling his cute little self. This was when he was just like 2 weeks old, maybe not even, or barely 2 weeks old. So he was still pretty itty bitty. So anyway, I'm making some clusters of these little extra puffy stickers that are on this collection or in this collection. I wanted to get some of those used up, so I make a little cluster of 3 down in the bottom by the little journaling space, and then I put a cluster of 3 up by 2 of those clusters over on the top of the where the pictures are. And so other than that, the sketch has a little tag tucked in to the right of the pictures, and I don't really have enough room for a tag that would still show like the good stuff on the tag. So I cut a little piece of this little circle and tucked it in. I thought I might write on there, but decided to make this little journaling spot down at the bottom instead. So I'm just going to leave that as just part of the embellishment cluster. And that is it. I do journal in here. I make a note about them visiting and how much fun we had listening to, and getting caught up and letting them hang out with AJ. And that is it. So here is that sketch one more time. And then here is a close-up. Here is a close-up of my layout. I hope you'll go check out everybody else who is hopping along with Fall Sketch February. I am sure there are quite a few videos on the playlist of people hopping along and using these sketches to inspire them. I love the aspect of being inspired by a sketch. And so I would love it if you give me a thumbs up if you like my video and or my layout. I would also love it if you subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you if you have already subscribed. And thank you for hanging out with me today. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love. And happy scrapping.